And welcome to another episode of Expert Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I'm talking with Alan McLaren. Alan, thanks for spending some time with me today, brother.
Really excited to have this conversation, Michael.
It's going to be a fun one. So buckle in, folks. Alan and I, we were talking earlier about his last name's McLaren, like the car. And if you don't know what a McLaren is, you need to check it out. But Alan's actually driven one of those things at breakneck speeds. We might get into that. But what he really does is he doesn't take vehicles into the stratosphere. He takes people into the stratosphere with personal branding. His company is Strata Originals because, well, you're an original. But what we find is most of the time, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, Alan, is business owners aren't utilizing and capitalizing on their personal brand and uniqueness. And so they're really missing out on sales and leaving a lot of money on the table. So we're going to talk all things branding and profitable branding and all of that. So Alan, as we jump into that deep end of that pool, tell me, how in the world did you get doing what you are doing today?
Well, we had myself and the business partner started a marketing agency back in 2005. So we did all the things that you would do from branding to ad buying and stuff like that. And in that world, we had helped CEOs with speeches and speech writing and little thought leadership stuff. Because when we started, there was no such thing as LinkedIn and other tools.
Right.
But the pandemic happened, and as a lot of people caused us to pivot, and we said, okay, our business model is going to be a little challenged. AI is going to take a lot of what we do. So we need to find something that we've done that hasn't really been productized in a way. Let's test it for a little while inside our company, see what happens.
Hmm.
We found something, spun it out, built Strata Originals, and now we are just having the time of our lives
Isn't it great?
because we have one client now that's the leader, CEO, entrepreneur, coach, author, pick that. And we get to, I love what you just said, help them to the stratosphere. So that's how we got into it, a little bit by a pivot, a business decision,
Yeah.
and actually discovered my passion in a backwards way by doing that.
Yeah, isn't that fun? And I love the flexibility of being able to pivot. And honestly, that really plays into, I think, what you do with business owners and entrepreneurs and CEOs is they've been doing it kind of the same way. And you're not coming in to say, okay, you have to change everything. You've probably come in and go, oh, here's one or two or three things that we're going to help pivot your brand, your positioning, your messaging. So unpack, Alan, for us a little bit of what does it look like when you find a client and you go, oh, here's what we're going to do. Explain what when we say branding, we're not
Yeah.
talking about a logo and colors necessarily. Unpack what it is first.
Well, let's start out by saying what it isn't, because I think that's really
Love it.
important. This is not about curating a perfect brand. This isn't
Mm-hmm.
about colors and logos and perfect websites and what I aspire to be. It is uncovering who you are.
Oh, I
So
love
our
that.
job is not to curate something you want to look like. It's
Yeah.
to uncover what's inside you. What's your gift? Dr. Seuss said this many, many years ago, only you are you.
Yes.
And the reality is, most of the people we work with don't know that they have that uniqueness. They don't know it. And so our big job is to uncover that and they go, oh, I do have a gift. I do
Yes.
have a perspective. I do have something to offer and teach the world. And so that's our first step with someone is to say, where are you? Where do you want to be for whatever reason you're doing this personal brand, whether it's to sell more books, build your business, raise more money, get more profile, pick something that's important to you. And then let's discover if there's a gap between who you are and what the world knows about you would be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And then we help close that gap and then work through a lot of steps which we can go through to get to where we are. But that's what we do.
Man.
So,
Yeah, I love that. One of my marketing philosophies that I kind of live by is people buy who you are more than what you do.
100%.
And dude, you just summarize that so well. Is I think most entrepreneurs, CEOs, coaches, they look in the mirror and they say, "I am the most boring person I know." You
Yeah.
and I look at them and go, "Oh my goodness, you have so much to offer and share." But you're right. They have a hard time discovering it. Somebody told me
Yeah.
years ago, one of my marketing guys that I follow, he's like, marketing's like being inside of a Coke bottle, looking out, trying to read the label. He's like,
Correct.
that's like really, really hard, but I can
Yeah,
read the label because I'm outside. That's kind of what you do, right?
exactly what we do. So the saying is you can't see the label from inside the jar.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way to put it, and that's exactly the truth. And so when we do something called a brand DNA, which is essentially
Mm.
a 90-minute interview that we do with our clients, and then we present back to them what their core platform is, what they should talk about. So probably similar to how you kind of identify when people are
Yeah.
writing a book, what's your core thesis? What are the chapters? How are you going to tell the story? We do that in terms of pillars. What are the four pillars that you should talk about? What's your core? And then we often get from our clients, I never saw myself that way
That's right.
because they're expressing it based on questions we're asking and we're summarizing it and feeding it back to them. And who's ever worked on themselves?
That's right. We
Nobody
don't.
has. I never did.
Yeah.
Now I have, so I know if there's a gap between what I want the world to know about me and how I'm presenting myself, or if I'm presenting myself.
Yes.
That's the biggest problem is people are just saying, well, I'm going to hide behind my logo and that's fine. Well, no one can see you from behind there. So time to get out and get in front of that because to your point, that's how you build trust. You only build trust that way.
Yeah, it really is. And you don't, and I wanna pop this bubble real quick and tell me if you agree with me. You don't have to be an outgoing, flamboyant, bigger than life entity to have a compelling brand. Fair?
Well, think about this. Let's just take it to really practical. People have LinkedIn profiles where, they post content, right? So let's assume for argument's sake, you have 1,000 people on your LinkedIn. They're your tribe. They already know you, right? Because they've connected with you. The key is to be authentic. So I know I can't be funny in a way where I can tell jokes.
Right.
Not part of I'm not an intellectual. I can have intellectual conversations, but I'm not an intellectual. I know I do everything from my heart outwards.
Yes.
So what do? I make sure that if I'm with you, or I'm with my staff, or I'm with my wife, or I'm with my team, or if I'm doing a video, I'm the same guy every single time. And people will like me or not like me, but I'm going to be authentic. That is the secret. So if you're an introvert, that's okay. If you're an
Yeah.
extrovert, that's okay. If you're an introvert trying to be an extrovert, that's not okay.
Absolutely.
So you're
100%.
100% right. You're right
Yeah.
on.
I feel like I'm getting an echo of Michael as I'm listening to you because that's exactly what I tell people all the time is I just want you to show up. Um,
Show up.
how so here's my new phrase that I started using is how you show up influences how they show up.
100%.
And
Yeah.
and when people connect with you, they want a real person. And this is what I love about what you do is this what you do is not something AI can do because
No.
it can get some data points and things, but it's going to miss who you are
Yeah.
and that heartfelt connection.
Well, here's the fun part about if people get out there on social media, which is what we recommend they do, and we recommend the scary part, which is doing video,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
totally. 100%.
Identifies people. But what happens is people spend time with you. So when I get leads, people know me already. They've seen 6 or 7 videos. They've watched me on a podcast. They've seen me interviewing on a podcast. So they've already know who I am. And so I now am getting to know them. So who's got the advantage in that sales world when people are saying, I've made a decision to talk to you because I already know who you are?
Yeah.
How do you do that otherwise? You
That's right.
write a book, which is part of what you do.
Right.
And that is, I get to know you because I see you've researched this, you know your stuff, you're credible. Well, what we say is, well, you can do that 2 minutes at a time
Yes.
and reach thousands of people.
That's right.
And you're not even doing that. So it's building trust at scale is
Yeah.
the secret by being out there actively and consistently, sharing the best of you with the generosity that you have and being a giver, then things start to happen. And when they start to happen, they come fast and furious,
Yeah.
and opportunities show up that you never expected would be there
Yeah.
because you're out there. But if you're not out there, you don't see those opportunities.
That's right. Yeah. And showing up in when people book a call, a consultation, whatever it is, they've already done all the research. They've
Exactly.
they've watched your videos, they've read your book, they've seen your blogs, they've already really made a buying decision of I really want to work with you.
Yes.
Now I want to spend some time one on one to see if really if you're the same person that I think you are. And once they confirm that, sales done
Yeah,
most of
you know,
the time.
Michael, it's so amazing sometimes where we can make, and I don't want to make this about sales too much, but it's back to the trust thing.
It
When
is.
someone in 7 minutes can decide to spend $70,000 with you in 7 minutes, you're right. They did all the work. It's just confirming,
Yeah.
okay, here's how it works.
Yeah.
This is what you'll do for me. I trust you're the guy to do it for me, or you're the team to do it for me. Like it blows my mind because we never could do that 20 years ago.
That's right.
We'll meet them and do a proposal and meet the team. And now I'm selling all over the world. I only have one office. I'm in 16 countries.
Yeah.
How does that happen? They're finding me because I'm out there, to your point, showing up.
Yeah. And you mentioned proposals, right? People used to ask me, "Hey, can you send me a proposal about that?" I don't send proposals anymore. If you're asking me for a proposal, I have not done my job. And
Yeah.
any proposal is just going to go through the committee. And it's like, "No, let's talk, and if I'm not a good fit for you, that's okay.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what's going on because proposals get thrown somewhere else. That's not what we are about." And so let's talk about your DNA process, 90-minute interview to
Yeah.
discover what's inside of them. And then you go back and you figure that out and you present to take somebody from, okay, I'm a new client, what I'm the most boring guy on earth, to what is it, 90 days later that you have a brand? I mean, how
No, no, no. So what happens is we do the 90-minute meeting and then we take 2 weeks and we come back 2 weeks later and say, Michael, based on the interview, here's what we see you are and how to position yourself in the market as your credibility, your expertise, your passions, how we tie all those together because they all matter, right? Because credibility is, for example, if I decide I want to talk about sleep, I
mm-hmm,
better have credibility to talk about sleep. Now, if I don't have credentials as a doctor, I might be have credentials and my opinion based on my experience, which is valid.
right,
But boy, they're going to listen to me if I'm a doctor versus Alan, who's kind of learned about sleep. So
right,
credibility matters, how people see you. What you're passionate about really matters. How, because that you can't fake that. If you're in the real estate business and you're talking, well, let me tell you about the latest trends, because you might be boring. If you're passionate about it, that's not boring anymore
right.
because you're helping people understand something by teaching them. So what we do is we package all that up and say, here's how we see you. And we're 99.9% accurate. Why? Because it's their words we're feeding back to
Exactly.
them.
Exactly. Yeah. And,
Right?
here's the phrase I use, and I think you could use the exact same phrase, is that when I create a book title, a theme, and everything for one of my clients, or when you create a branding, we don't create your brand, we discover your brand.
Exactly. We call it uncovering your uniqueness,
Yeah.
right? And then, as you said when we were talked earlier, and then our tagline is uncover your uniqueness and then share it in the service of others.
Yeah.
So that's the now I know who I am.
Yeah.
I know what my gifts are, and never in an ego way, never in a let me share all these awards I've won and look at how good I am and look at how smart. No one gives a crap about
They
that stuff,
don't.
but they do care about what you know, and
Yes.
are you credible to tell that story, and do you do it in a way that is not selling? So, right, that's important. You're not selling, you're teaching, you're sharing, you're giving your perspectives because your perspectives, those are the only things that are your unique to you. Knowledge is not unique to
Right.
you. But
Yeah.
your perspectives are very unique to you because you're the only one that grew up in a certain city with certain parents, with certain friends, in a certain environment, in a certain country. Only you are in that, the only one that's ever been invented.
Yeah.
That's where your perspectives come from, is all of those things leading to
Yeah.
content development or a book or whatever that is.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because two things on that. One, bedside manner is huge. I've heard so many people. I have a great surgeon, praise God, but he had a terrible bedside manner, and
Yeah,
they would not recommend that surgeon. Right? I still want a great surgeon, but I want somebody who can comfort me. And I think in business, too many times we come at it from the I am this, I am so good. It's like Great. I'm glad there's somebody else. And your perspective is that uniqueness of I you your audience isn't looking for more information. That's why we have Google. What they're looking for is a trusted guide who can help them solve the problem they're having, right?
Yeah,
It,
they can go to AI today and type in, how do I build my personal brand? And it'll
yeah.
all show up.
Oh, totally.
What they
Yeah.
need to do. That's the how part.
Yeah.
They can maybe even uncover the why part, but they can't do the why me part
That's right.
because you are not inside the AI yet. Maybe it'll change,
Maybe someday. Yeah.
but the reality is it's so true. To help somebody overcome the fear of not showing up or
Yeah.
the reason to not show up, that requires sometimes some additional help
Yeah.
with professionals to help them over the line. Because how many people have you heard, I'm thinking of writing a book? Well, you're already there. You're just
Yeah.
lazy on how to get it done. Guess what? There are lazy ways to do it. Right?
Absolutely.
You can absolutely do that. There are ways to get a book done if it's important enough to you to
Yeah.
put in the time, energy, and money to do the work. So same for us. It's no different. Is that the big answer is why?
Yeah.
I have a good why, and you talked about that earlier. The how is easy,
Yeah.
and the what is easy, and then it's, do I need help to do it, or can I do it on my own?
Yeah.
That's the decision that you have to make. But the decision to be out there is the
Yeah.
biggest decision, and
Yeah.
that's the one that generates so much value for them and for
Well,
others.
it does, and let's talk about that because I think sometimes when business owners, coaches, CEOs, when they think branding, they they're not in the same world we are to understand the value and the the amplification to get to that stratosphere, right? So that instead of being one of many, they start to become one of few and maybe one of just one, right? There is a talk about the practicality, the profitability, the all of that that comes with when you are an entity, when you have a distinct brand that is you. How does that impact actually the top and bottom lines?
Yeah, well, think about this, right? So your business, let's say you have a business and you have 10 employees, 15 employees, right? You're the rainmaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk to you. You're the rainmaker. So how do you do that today? Networking events, whatever you happen to do, relationships, referrals. May do marketing, email marketing, may do all kinds of stuff. Who's trusted more, you or the business?
Mm-hmm.
So the
Right.
you are trusted more, right? So if
Absolutely.
you're not showing up, what happens? Then opportunities that are sitting out there, you will never find them. Or more important, they'll never find you because personal branding is an attraction strategy. You become
Yes.
a magnet for stuff. Think about this. You're out there and you're doing your marketing. You think your marketing might work better if you're out there?
Maybe.
Your email mark. Oh, I just saw your CEO on a talk
Yeah.
show, on a podcast. He or she was really cool. What does it do? So you want to talk about bottom line? You tell me a better way to market today,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to your marketing, not replacing your marketing.
Right.
It makes everything better if you
Yeah.
do it correctly and right, and you're not out there selling. Some of the folks we work with tend to get, well, I just want to get right to what we do for a living. I said, they don't care.
Care. They really don't.
They don't care. But if you teach them something and go, I like that Ken guy,
Yeah.
he's really insightful and smart. Let me find out what he does more.
Yeah.
I'll give you a profitable example. So I'm on a lot of WhatsApp groups in a couple of organizations I belong to. I see a young man who's posting stuff, and I went, he's really neat. Don't say a thing on WhatsApp. Go find him on LinkedIn and
Yeah.
said, hey, we're in this group together. Just wanted to connect with you. I think you're pretty cool. That's it. You know what the response was? Can't wait to connect with you, Alan. I see you're a personal branding expert.
Mm-hmm.
I've been struggling with that for years. I wonder, can you help me out?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah.
I noticed somebody who I think is interesting. I don't sell them. I just want to connect with them.
Yeah.
They see my title and they come back to me. I want your help.
Right.
That's what happens when you're out there.
That's right.
Did I sell anything? No.
Yeah.
Person from Cyprus sees one of my posts and says, I really like this video. Can you help me do this? Of course.
Yeah.
Someone 3 weeks ago from New York. Oh, do you do talks on this, Alan? I'd love you to talk to one of our groups. Sure, absolutely. We do a call, we agree on a number, they fly me to New York, I do the talk. I don't know these people.
Right.
So what does that do to profitability? You want to talk about scale?
Mm-hmm.
This is scale with human to human,
Right.
not business to human. Because when a business is marketing, you're looking for the 5% of the people that are buying. All good, laudable. We do it too. We have strata marketing, we email marketing, with that stuff. The most valuable stuff we do is the stuff I do and my business partner Leanne does. That attracts most of the business. The other
Right.
stuff is building the nurturing.
That's right.
You for the future,
That's right.
that's the game you're playing. So direct to the bottom line makes everything else better. And oh, by the way, it's fun to do.
It is. It totally is. And it starts so many conversations. So let's talk about the coach, consultant, CEO who's out there right now. They what are they thinking before they call you, right? So
Yep,
they're sitting here, there's what are some of the struggles they're having, some of the rabbit holes they've gone down or something, but
yep.
they're saying, what's going on there?
I'm terrified.
Mm,
Terrified. I don't want to look inauthentic. This is a lot of work. I don't have the time. I've got too many projects going on. I see it's important, but I'm not ready yet, is the words we get.
mm,
Ready yet. So when we peel back the onion on not ready yet, some of it is abject fear. I'm not
yeah,
getting out there. I don't know how to do this. It's very fearful. But most of it is, you really want me to do video? And the reason we do that is because you can be out there on social media writing, and that's fine. Go out there, do it if you're doing nothing else. But words get interpreted, videos can't.
yes, that's great.
You want to build trust at scale, right? But do video, because this, you're getting to know Michael and I if you're watching this. You like us, you don't like us,
Right?
really, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah,
We're not any different. If I wrote something in a blog, you're interpreting it based on your filters, your experiences, and then you might say, oh, I don't like this guy at all, and then you're done. But video consistently and doing it longevity, at the end of a year, you could have 48 or 50 videos.
yeah,
What? And put that all on a YouTube channel, and it's there forever. Then 5 years later, you have 250 videos. You have a
yeah,
little TV station, your little media company on you.
yeah,
Which what's going to happen then? My God. So that's what they're dealing with, is the I'm not ready stuff. And then so our job is to get them through that. And sometimes we can't get them there.
yeah,
And they just sit on the sidelines.
that's right.
And then at some point they wake up and go, oh, that's what you were talking about. I said,
Yeah,
yeah, dude, that's what I was talking about, but you weren't ready. And you
that's
got
right.
to be in a mental space that's ready. But
Right.
it doesn't mean the deck is cleared, because the deck is never cleared.
It's never cleared.
Always something new. Writing a book, same thing. Well, when I get to, I'm going to write a book, that book's never going to get written,
That's right.
because there's always crap when you're a leader.
That's right.
Every day,
Yeah,
you've got to carve out to do what's right for you
yeah.
and business. That's what we encourage to do. Sometimes we're nice about it. Sometimes we're tough about it.
Well, you have to be sometimes because
But
one of my marketing gurus, Roy Williams, Wizard of Ads, years ago, drilled this in my head: is the business owner is uniquely unqualified to make good decisions in his business because we're too close to it. And if you find yourself struggling, fearful, going, I got too many, I'll get to it someday. I had a lady, I got the email this morning. She canceled the appointment for Friday. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not quite ready. We're gonna circle back around to this next time." She'll probably never get it done. And that's okay.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna be here when she is ready, but you've got to look at all the things on your docket and say, what's going to really move the needle? And as fast as Alan and his team can help you discover your unique brand that's going to cut through the clutter, compel your audience to seek you out and learn from you. And here's what I love: spending time with you when you're not there before they ever meet with you.
And let me build on one thing you said, which is really powerful. There is no competition for you.
Yeah, that's right.
There's competition for your business, but there's no competition for you,
Yeah,
because there's only one of you.
yeah.
So
It's Yeah, I feel like we are inside the bottles looking out. One of my favorite books, you've probably read it, is Positioning by Trouton Reese and 22 Laws of Immutable Marketing, and all of these foundational books that I read 30 years ago that formed who I am and how I operate, that those laws are true today probably more so than ever to
Yeah.
go. We live in a crowded marketplace. Most coaches, most CEOs sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, right? They all say the same thing. You're so unique.
Yeah.
You need to stand out like Dr. Seuss. He was one.
One
There's
of
only
one.
one Dr. Seuss.
One of
There's
one.
only one Alan McLaren, and there's only one you, business owner, coach, CEO.
Well, back to you're an original, right? You said it at the great. That's the name. The name we have is you're an original because you are, and our biggest job is to get you to see that.
Yes.
Right. And then when you're out there, there is a lot of noise for sure, but the noise of the stories that you can tell are unique to you.
Yeah.
That's there's nobody that can tell stories of the work that I did in five previous businesses. If I had to turn the business around or fire people, how I did that is a story unique to me and my experience in it. Nobody can tell that story, even if they were in the business that where I was firing 300 people,
That's
right?
right.
Going, yeah, but Alan, I have a perspective because you know what was in my head.
Yeah.
So, and what can people can learn from that?
Yeah.
So, you know what? That's a really interesting approach that he took. And I'm not telling them, I'm sharing.
Yes.
And so here's the other part that's important. If they're fearful of what will people say about my stuff, well, here's the fun part. When it's your story,
Yeah.
your perspective, you will have no comments. You know how many we've done probably over 1,000 videos for clients now? I want you to guess how many negative comments we've had in 1,000 videos.
In 1,000 days, you've got to have at least. I'll take a really low number. I want to say 25.
Zero.
Zero.
Do you know why?
No.
If I'm truly giving of myself, authentically giving of
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
and I'm telling my story that I own, what do you now? Could
Yeah.
you say I have a different perspective? Of course you can.
Yeah. That's good.
But you're not negative on it. You're saying, when I had to terminate 200 people, I took this approach. Just as valid. It's your
Yeah.
story.
That's great.
So you to belabor the fear for people. Now, there are exceptions to that. You want to talk religion and politics,
Oh, yeah.
expect it. You
Right.
want to be on Twitter, expect it. You want to go on Blue Sky, expect it.
Yeah.
Because there are platforms that are designed to have perspectives on them.
Right.
And if you want to do that and it serves you, knock yourself out. I
Yeah.
have a lot to say about politics. I have a lot to say about religion. I say none of it. I
Right.
don't even comment on it as a joke because it gets you into the rabbit hole that's not serving you.
That's right.
So that's
Absolutely.
important. So so you got to make. I've got a buddy of mine who does that, and I always tell him, I said, just make sure, dude, when you make the comment that you're okay with the backlash, that's part of your brand, then knock yourself out.
Yeah.
It's not going to help what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
that's where you got to be very clear on your lane.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know you can help people clarify that lane, get them to the launch pad and launch them into the stratosphere as a unique original. How if somebody's out there going, yeah, this I've been putting this off. I've been putting this off. It's never going to happen unless I reach out and talk to Alan and his team. Alan, where do they go? What's the next step for them?
There's a couple of steps that you could take. One is Michael will have a worksheet in a link that you can go and download for free and start working on your personal brand yourself and say, okay, I got to ask myself these questions. That's the first good step. If you want to bypass that and go straight to us, of course, Alan McLaren on LinkedIn, just say, I saw you on Michael's podcast. We'd love to chat with you. Obviously, that would be great, but not everybody's ready for that. And then our website has got a lot of information as well, stratoriginals.com. But
Awesome.
the worksheet's a really nice place to start because it gets you thinking about you.
Yeah.
And then you'll get some emails after to follow up and support you in the journey. And hopefully you do that. And then, but I'm always available to chat and help because that's our DNA is to help people and
That's
help
right.
them on their journey because it is a journey.
It really is, and what the thing I teach about marketing is consistency over time, and
Got it.
most people aren't ready today for what you and I offer, but they're going to be ready in 30 days or 3 months or six, whatever. So I go to the show notes, get that free worksheet, and begin the process. And like you said, you may say that's great, but I really want to talk down. Awesome, start the worksheet because this is critically important that you have your personal brand, you understand how to integrate it in all the marketing you're doing so there's consistency, because people are researching you before they ever book a call with you. And when you build trust before you meet, it changes the dynamic of the relationship and brings you more clients. So
People, the old thing is people buy on emotion, they justify with logic.
100%.
So, that's the game we're in. We're in a game where we want to help people and trust. People need to trust us. This is the game that you or I are both in the
Yeah.
trust business.
Yeah.
Just a different medium to get the word out there. That's all.
100%. Alan, man, this has been great. You and I could go on for hours, I'm sure, but I'm going to send everybody to the show notes. Go ahead, and as you do that, go back and re-listen to this, because there are a lot of wonderful gems that we both dropped in here that are helpful. Grab the worksheet, start working through that. Reach out to Alan, see how he and his team can help you launch your personal brand, take it into the stratosphere, because you are an original and you have something powerful to say. Alan, thanks for being here, brother. Thanks for what you do, and
I, I
blessings
look
to you.
forward to, I look forward to the next conversation too.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening to Experts Speak. I appreciate it. And tune in next week for another great conversation. God bless. Take care.